You've watched me build Gunpla. You know that I'm a big Gunpla enthusiast. Well, today's video is all about the top 10 kits that I have built on Gunpla Hangar. It's time for Gunpla Primer. What's going on, comrades? It's your Supreme Leader Coldbane here, and today for Gunpla Primer, I'm going to talk about the top 10 kits that I have built on this channel. Now, these are kits that, like I said, you've watched me build, I've made videos on. I've built more kits than this, and there are some that are in there that are not on this list that are special to me. But these kits were the top 10 most fun kits for me, and the ones that I highly recommend whenever I discuss my builds. Each one of these kits has a special place in my heart. There are some there, and not all of these are HGs, so guys, guess what? We are having a lot of fun with this list today. But starting off at number 10. Number 10 is the MG Deathscythe Hell Endless Waltz. And this was done in episode 50. You're going to see the thumbnail here today to let you know where it's at. But this kit, although a more complicated kit, much like this third-party Deathscythe Hell Supernova, had a lot of intricate pieces to it, had a lot of detailed pieces. Master grade kits are going to be tough, but it really put a challenge to me. But it was one of my favorite builds. Like, I'm really in love with the Master grade kit, the Master grade Deathscythe Hell. It was really a fun kit, and it was really a just big kit for me. This was my first MG that I had ever built that was considered an MG. Before, they used to have the 1/100s that just had like MG quality parts, but they weren't considered master grade back then. I did a Zaku 2 back then, but this was the first official master grade that I did for this channel. It was the Deathscythe Hell, and it was a beauty of a kit. Really one of my top 10s, just because it's my favorite mobile suit, and two, it really had a lot of interesting parts to it that made the build a lot more fun for me. That cockpit mechanic, all of that was just so cool. Definitely was worth the money that I put into it. Next up, we have the HG Barbatos Lupus Rex. Now, this was probably one of my favorite builds, and it inspired me to do my first kit bash. Playing around with those really intricate arms and legs that the Lupus Rex has. It was a fun kit. Now, I built this one in episode 54. Just a fun build, just a well-detailed build, too. Like, I didn't think that kit was going to be that much fun, because I've built IBO kits, and they're really complicated builds, because there's a lot of, like, smaller pieces to them. But it was not bad, and it really was one of my favorite builds. One of my favorite kits after finishing it, too, because the parts look just so great. All in all, it only took me one episode to build. Both of these only took like one episode to build, which is really crazy for me. Like, I would have thought the MG would have taken longer, but that was episode 50, and I kind of pulled that one a little longer. Just so just amazing kit is the HG Barbatos Lupus Rex. Sorry guys, it's been a long weekend, so I'm a little not functional. I don't know if that's the right word. Number 8 on the list here, which is the HG Triage Magnum. Now, I built this one episode 92. I want to say I built this in 92 and 93. I don't know. Let me. I could have swore I built this one in more than one. Yeah, it was episodes 92 and 93. 92 and 93. So this kit was one of the first of my all-time, like. This kit came with so many interesting things, and it was such a fun build that, like, I enjoyed every moment of it. It was a really beautiful kit. The color separation was probably one of my favorites. The only reason it doesn't rank higher is because there were some other kits there that were just really, really good. But build time, it wasn't a hard build. It wasn't a crazy build, but it had some great parts to it, and I really did love that. Definitely on my top 10, just because it was an affordable kit that's easy to build, and it was one of the build divers kits, so that there's always bonus parts in there for other kits. So it was definitely I love that because whenever I get back into kit bashing again and wanting to do more kit bashes, I've got some ideas in mind for suits, and this is going to be a lot of fun using some of those spare parts. Coming up next, we have the RG Gundam Mark II Titans Colors. Now, I love the Titans Colors kits. I love the RG kit of this because it was a beautiful build for an RG kit. They included like cloth hoses, which was really interesting to put around some plastic wire and or copper wire. So that was really cool. It was a very well detailed kit too. Like, it was super fun to build. It was my second ever RG build. My first was like a Zaku 2, but this one was really just tight. I loved it. The joints were great. The armor stayed on well, and I was just in love with it. It wasn't a bad kit. It really wasn't. Like I said, parts-wise, it wasn't terrible, and price-wise, it wasn't bad at all either. Like, I don't remember paying that much for it. So, yeah, it was a great build, and one of my favorite suits of all time too. I love the Mark II. Coming in at number 6, we have the Hiyakushiki. Now, this kit was my first ever dive into a non-Zaku related Char Aznabel kit. I know he goes by another name in Zeta, but it was such a fun build. It was such a nice design. Easy build too. It wasn't difficult at all. There was a couple of things that that kind of bummed me out about it, but other than that, the build wasn't bad. The stickers weren't terrible, and I love the design of that suit. It was a really great kit. The kit was put together well. There wasn't a whole lot of like hardness. It wasn't a hard kit to put together. It wasn't a difficult, and I barely made many mistakes on it. So I love the Hiyakushiki. Now, going back to the MGs here, we're going for number 5. We've got the MG Crossbone Gundam X1. Now, this one I built in episode 68 and 69. Hiyakushiki I built in 94 and 95, by the way. I don't know if I said that, but just to remind you one more time. But in episode 68 and 69, I built the Gundam Crossbone X1, which is the full cloth. This was probably one of my favorite MGs of all time to build. Just a really big kit, a lot of great parts, a lot of great detail in those parts too. Definitely something I would recommend for anybody wanting to get into the MG class of Gundam. It was a fun build. It was a little bit pricey though because it's an older kit. They don't sell a whole lot of those anymore. But I loved everything about it. The details, the design, the fact that it built so well. It wasn't terrible. It was definitely right up there in like one of my favorite builds. That's why it ranks in the top 5, because it really was one of my favorite builds. I don't get a chance to take my kits out of the boxes often to relook at them, but once I do, the display is going to be that's going to be kind of one of my centerpieces there. It's really one of my favorite MG kits of all time. So I can't wait to get a good display up so that y'all can see all of my kits in their glory. I may put them all behind me here and just store all my figures and Funko Pops and all that on another shelf in the studio somewhere. At number 4, we have the Sai Gundam, the Sai Gundam. I don't know how to say it. It's the one from Hathaway, but this kit was one of my first big builds. Now, and when I mean big build, I mean this kit takes up a lot of space. It is huge. I built this in episodes 55 and 56, and it was my first dive into a box that was that big. In fact, I think I let y'all pick the kit. So, guys, when I tell you this kit was well worth the money, it was well worth the build. This was an expensive kit too, at $80 for a kit. But it had so many great details to it. It's a really bulky suit. I love the design. I love the style of it. I love just the fact that it's completely its own beast in and of itself. And it was so much fun to build. Definitely ranks high there because detail-wise it was beautiful. It was a great build experience. I left the build experience wanting more. I don't get that a lot with some kits. Some kits make me just hate it. But that wasn't one. This wasn't one of them. It was really nice. I really do like it. Number 3 is the HG New Gundam. Now the New Gundam, I bought this thing a while back, and it's been sitting in my backlog, and I decided one day I'm gonna build the new Gundam, because I think I just finished building the Sananju, maybe? I don't remember. I know I'd built a few others before it, but this one, the new Gundam, was built in episode 62 and 63, and I remember just the quality in this kit being so good, and just being so just, it was one of the best. Like, I enjoyed every minute of building it. Parts wise, it had some great parts to it. They were really well done. Everything stuck together well. I didn't feel like anything was super loose, and to take the funnels off and play around with them was really cool too. I love the fact that you can pose the funnels, and they're not just like a solid backpack piece on the back. You can actually bend them and fold them and all that. That was really cool. The suit looked really good too. The weapons were great. Everything was fine with it. It was a really great build, guys, and I'm telling you, that just blew my mind how much fun that kit was. Definitely was worth the money too, because I paid a little more than I would for a normal HG Gundam for that, but it was well worth the money. It was definitely well worth the money. Yeah, so it was definitely a fun build for me. I highly recommend that kit, and that's why it's in the top 3, is just because it was one of the more pleasing kits to finish. Like, I left building that wanting to go and do the RG version of it, and wanting to do more versions of it, just because it's such a fun build. At number 2, we have the HG Sananju. Now, the Sananju ranks there because it was a fun build. Now, the only thing I didn't like about the kit was it was so sticker heavy. Sorry, it was decal heavy, very decal heavy. But I will say that with it being decal heavy, it was still better than most other kits that I've put together. I remember getting it and just being so blown away with it. I got it after watching, I got it while I was watching Unicorn, and seeing the Sananju in action made me want to complete that kit even more. So when I built it, it was like having a piece of that show in my hand. I love the Sananju. It's one of my favorite mobile suits from Mobile Suit Gundam. It is one of my favorite Zeonic suits, and it's one of my favorite villain suits of all time. Definitely ranks pretty high there. But yeah, it was such a fun build for me, guys, and I'm gonna tell you right now, it was well worth the time, well worth the effort. And that's why it ranks at number 2, is just because it was one of the max fun time suits that I'd ever built. Coming in at number 1, now this is the kit that was probably the biggest kit I've ever built, and also one of the most detailed kits I've ever built, but I never at any moment felt like I hated this suit. And that is the HG Nightingale. Now, the Nightingale is a big kit, so big that I had to take it apart just to put it back in the box. I fell in love with this kit the moment I started building it. Everything was so massive, everything was so well detailed, and I didn't feel like I needed to do a whole lot extra to mark it as complete. Decal wise, it came with a few decals, not a whole lot. It came with a couple of clear background decals as well. Just a fun build, just a super awesome build. And I'm blown away by it, guys. The Nightingale is a really beautiful kit. Now, I built this in episodes 88 and 89. It took 2 episodes to build, which tells you a lot about the fact that even though it's a massive kit, it was one of the best massive kits I've ever built. So it was worth the money, it was worth the time, it was worth the effort, it was worth everything, guys. And when I say that, I mean it. The Nightingale really ranks at number 1 just because the sheer beauty of the thing, the sheer size of the thing, and the fact that the build was so much fun that I didn't want to stop. I honestly did not want to stop. I wanted to slow down and enjoy it, but all good things come to an end, right? Guys, that's my top 10 list. That's it. You know, each one of these kits was a fun and fantastic build. I definitely recommend that if you get into the hobby, look at one of these kits if you can find them. They are a lot of fun, especially some of the easier builds that are listed on here, like the Triage Magnum. That would be a good first starter for someone who wants something a little bit more difficult to build. But anyway, comrades, that's it for today's video. I want to thank y'all so much for watching. Make sure y'all like, comment, and subscribe. Y'all can follow me on all of my social medias. There is a link tree in the description below that'll take you there, as well as to my merch shop, where you can snag some KBG merch to support the channel. There's also a link there for my Patreon, where you can become a member of the, member of the KBG army. You know, come join me. Come become part of something big there, guys. I would really appreciate it. We have different tiers there for everybody. The lowest tier is just a support. Everything else kind of moves up and gives you some nice rewards there. But yeah. Also, go check out my sponsor, Dubby. Dubby makes some amazing energy drinks out there, guys, for people like me who need something that helps with the focus and allows me to have fun with what I do, guys. And it doesn't make me feel sick or jittery afterwards like most other energy drinks do. I really don't. I can't handle energy drinks. So, Dubby is one of the first ones that I've found that makes me feel like I'm not going to feel just really bad off after drinking it. I need some now, as a matter of fact. I hadn't had my daily Dubby, so go check it out, guys. You get a nice little tub for $40 that really helps out. But you want to save 10% on that $40. You want to take $4 off of that? Use the coupon code ColdBane at checkout to get 10% off your purchase, guys. That is 10% off a purchase of Dubby just by using the coupon code ColdBane at checkout. But anyway, comrades, that's it for today's video. I want to thank y'all so much for watching. Much love, comrades. And das Vidanya.